Hello, this is week 7, and this week you will learn about phase 2. You may not be ready to be in phase 2 yet, but that's what we're learning about. And whenever you're ready to go to phase 2, this is what you'll come back to. Okay, so this week you're going to read chapter 3 and 4, and you're going to read The Power of Documentation in the Early Childhood Classroom. I know it's kind of old, but this has great ideas for how to document children's learning. And you're going to continue your project work with the students. And you will also make arrangements for a visiting expert or a field visit. Let's talk a little bit about this. First of all, teachers don't have scads of money, so field trips are paid for by the school, and you probably won't be able to take a field trip for this unless you already have one planned. So a field visit, when I mention field visit, what I'm thinking about is, what if the children want to learn more about trees or flowers? Well, a field visit would be taking them outside so they can do their investigative research. That's a field visit. You're going out in the field. Um, Visiting expert, you don't have to hire a fancy visiting expert. A visiting expert is someone who knows a lot about the topic. If the children want to do a project on firefighters, well, invite a firefighter to your classroom. If the children want to learn about how to grow plants, invite someone that you know who's very good at gardening, and they can be your visiting expert. If you have any questions about that, please let me know. And the textbook is very informative about that as well. Also, you're going to continue working on your project planning journal. Here is the link to the article. And phase 2 really is all about the inquiry. This is where you go back to the anticipatory web, look at the 4 content areas that you plan on covering based on the children's questions, and then you plan the investigative experiences. You may have to teach them how to do certain skills before they do the investigative experience, like teaching them to measure or tally. Depends on what the topic is, really. And then you're going to use science processes for this. You're going to use observation, hypothesizing, questioning, experimenting, measuring, counting, comparing, sorting, experimenting, seriating, problem solving, constructing. Those are just examples. But when I say do science processes, this is what I'm thinking. Okay. A great idea of what phase 2 looks like in the classroom. You can see it here in the worms project. And I have seen worms projects, and they are so much fun. Okay. Materials for investigations. You're going to be using whatever is in the classroom and bringing in extra materials. So make sure whatever your topic is, that it's not so expensive or difficult to find materials that you can't bring stuff in. Play-Doh and worksheets are not inquiry tools. Cooking activities do not count as investigation. Please be aware of that, and you can see it highlighted here. Okay, once children are engaged in their investigations, please take lots of pictures. If you have permission to photograph, you can take full front. If you don't, take them from the back. You'll need to add a label to each picture indicating what science processes were used and or what content area learning was taking place. Please note that. Writing under the picture, they had fun doing, they're having a wonderful time, they're so excited about. That is not a science process. These are science processes. I expect them to have fun just by doing the project. Okay. And once children are done investigating, they're going to represent what was learned in some way. They might make a clay structure. They may do some writing. They may do some sketches. They may construct a fire truck, whatever it is. they're going to have to represent their learning. They may draw lots of pictures. Here you have this little girl. She made a license tag and she's so happy to point it out. Diego's bus drawings. Lots of good learning represented here. And finally, just like in phase 1, you will write a narrative summary that clearly explains with specific examples what the children's investigations consisted of, discoveries made, inquiry tools used. Be really descriptive of the children's behavior. Having fun is not something, I know they're going to have fun, but what are they really doing? What kinds of technology was used, and what dispositions were fostered. And then when you have this phase complete, eventually, won't happen this week, but when you have it complete, you're ready to glue it to the center portion of the documentation panel. You're going to label it phase 2. You'll have pictures of the children. You're going to have labels under the pictures indicating science processes or content learning that's taking place. And you're going to have some examples of the children's representations. Some people, instead of gluing them on here, they'll glue like a pocket on there and then stick the representations in the pocket. And if you have like clay figures or something, you might want to just put a big arrow and have representations written there, and then point down to the table that the trifold is sitting on with all the representations on it. And then, of course, you'll have your phase 2 narrative 1-page summary. If you have any questions about this, please let me know. I will be happy to set up a Zoom with you. Bye-bye.